So, Aquaman wins, but also completely fails and bombs all at the same time. Massively.
It was a better flop.
I like that. It was a better flop. It was a better flop.
I mean, it makes sense. There was more water. There was more water. It was kind of a belly flop.
But it did sink to number 2.
Oh, true.
Because it had a turd floating in it.
Yeah. That's not a Snickers bar. Anyway, sorry.
Oh my god. But it's not done very. It's still not done very well. Like, it's crossed $250 million worldwide, which is, it's better than the Marvels. But how much of that money has come from China? Do you know? No answer. Like, close to $50 million come from China, so they basically get nothing.
Is that it?
Yeah, but that's still a lot of money that they're not getting.
Oh, sure. Well, I mean, China takes all but 25% of the box office receipts anyway. Sometimes it's even steeper than that. So it's not like when you see the China numbers, they mean anything. Huh?
How much did you say they take?
They take all but 25%. They take 75% of the box office. Hollywood gets, or whatever studio gets, 25% at best.
Yeah. That's about what I tend to sort of quote, to be fair.
Yeah.
Terrible. And there are actually some films releasing which could sort of knock it down a little bit further. So there's that new horror film releasing this weekend. I'm not going to say it's going to be a smash hit, but The Night Swim. No, not excited for The Night Swim. Don't think that'll knock it off the top spot or the second spot.
Wonka made a comeback. Did you see that?
Yeah, Wonka's done like $350 odd million worldwide. It's done really well, like amazingly well for a bloody musical. Amazingly well for a musical. But I think it's fascinating. I just think it's fascinating. These superhero movies are just dead, completely dead.
Well, I mean, and you have to feel for you have to feel for the last ditch effort of DC here. I mean, like it, don't like it. I mean, I get it. I mean, it's up to you, the films that you like. I have to tell you that the film was just a mess. The story was convoluted. The CGI was iffy in lots of places. I mean, I have my complaints, but it still was better than most of the Marvels. And but when you look at it visually, in comparison with something like Wonka, which also used a lot of volume, the town square was all volume. Most people don't probably realize that, but when you look at that and you go, wow, this is so much better. Wonka visually is so much better than both of these two incredibly expensive superhero films. They were $100 million more expensive.
No one asked for it, did they? Like, people were just like, what? Why is this even the thing? That's why I didn't think it did very well.
Yeah.
Initially, anyway.
Yeah. It's just, if you're the Marvels, you spent $275 million that we know about so far, probably over $300 million. You spend $205 million to make Aquaman Lost Kingdom, and at the end of the day, Aquaman The Lost Kingdom, as of right now, worldwide global, is $270 million in take versus the Marvels.
270. That's increased a little bit now.
Yeah. Versus the Marvels, which is still sitting under $200 million. It's $199,968,000.
It didn't even crack 200 million.
Still sitting right under it. It's like,
my god!
They stopped reporting. Also, remember that.
That's true.
Yes, they did. That's so funny.
But
it is officially out of theaters as well now, isn't it? It's done completely.
I think basically what we're looking at here for Aquaman is the amount of people that went to see the first one that helped put it over the $1 billion that literally were just there for Jason Momoa at this point. I think a good portion of them anyway.
People, then.
No. Well, yeah, like almost $300 million worth, roughly 250, 300 million. But a lot of those overseas, and I think that's also being helped overseas by the fact that most of the people outside of the US, North America, UK, Australia probably have no fucking clue about all the Amber Heard drama or care.
That's true.
So that's not driving people off like it is here.
And what's
That's
really
true.
terrible, Tom, and I think you probably would agree, and Nate, you probably will too.
I will not, just to be a contrarian.
Okay, well, the Marvels didn't even cross $85 million domestic.
Did it not? It didn't even hit $100 million domestic. Wow,
Nope.
that's bad.
Nope.
I was going to say it'll probably be the first comic book movie in what 20 some years not to cross at least 100 million domestic.
Yeah. And it had an absolutely huge Monday. Yeah, I mean, yesterday.
I wonder about Hellboy and stuff like that, but I mean, between DC and Marvel, I guess. Let's be.
Yeah, but I mean, Marvel's just made just a truckload of money yesterday. It made $8,100.
Good times.
In
Good
one
times.
theater.
Unbelievable. Well, what do we? So yeah, I mean, this was kind of. I wanted to throw this as a topic in today, just because. Well, it's important because it's the end of the DCEU, but I also think it's telling on a wider scale, right? Like it's telling, generally speaking, of how superhero movies are being received nowadays. They're not. There's no interest. There's really no hype. Apathy for superheroes is setting in.
Yeah.
Or has already set in.
Well, I mean, just all you have to do is look at the box office. Do you know what people went to go see and had to go out of their way in cases to go see? And somebody mentioned it in the chat. Godzilla -1. You had to go out of your way in some cases to see that film.
I had to go out my way.
Yeah.
I had to go and pay. Oh my God, I had to go and pay for a bloody cinema membership for 3 months that I didn't even think was going to last 3 months. I thought it was 1 month. They've conned me out of 2 extra months of this stupid cinema membership, which I should probably have because I watch enough films. But that's not the point. All right? It's not the point, goddammit. Yeah, I really went out my way to watch that because, yeah, and most people in the States, like it's barely any screens, but people were happy to go out of their way to watch it.
Yeah.
And I also think studios vastly overestimate how much free cash people have. Like they vastly overestimate that people have cash nowadays. They really don't.
I think everybody's looking to cut back on a whole lot of things, including streaming services. Look, the first thing to go when money gets tight is entertainment.
Luxury.
Your entertainment budget just gets slashed left and right. So, people will obviously pay for internet, but that might be it. They may not carry a streaming service. They may not have Netflix. They may not. They'll forego Disney Plus and Max and all this other stuff because it's costly. And they get better and broader entertainment from places like this. This is why we do what we do here on YouTube and Rumble and Odyssey and Minds and Getter and Twitter and everywhere that we are, is because I hate to say it and it sounds conceited, but YouTube's more entertaining than almost anything else out there. And
it's also personable, right? Like you actually these people
Yeah.
I would say, I'd say you actually know these people much more so than you would these, movies in general, or a TV show, for instance, owned by a corporation that has a vested interest because they have sponsors and things like that. The only thing we're beholden to is the audience, but you guys gravitate towards us because you like our content. So we're not actually beholden to anyone as long as we're true to ourselves. That's a synergy that just works. And then we're beholden to YouTube because, demonetization, but then that's where fan funding comes in anyway. So, people gravitate to this infinitely more than they will, cable TV, these kind of talk show things, etc. I think it's much more entertaining. That's for sure.
Well, I mean, CC Karaoke in the chat and many others are pointing out you can watch all these wonderful retrospectives and stuff. I mean, when I watch Midnight's Edge, some of the stuff they've covered in depth, they do documentary style presentations. You're not going to get that kind of stuff, especially in niches where it's like, I want to know all about what happened to He-Man, or I want to know, everything there is to know about Conan, or,
Well, I'll tell you what,
yeah.
if anyone wants hours of content, literally hours and hours, I narrated all the Hellraiser comic books. No one else has done that ever. Just throwing that out there. I feel like so bloody niche and random. No one's going to put any money behind that to release it on cable or TV. But I did. I spent my time. It's a lot of time.
Yeah,
I loved it. That was good fun. But no, like you're right. You know, there's a niches being filled where there's potentially no broader market viability for it on like a cable network or anything like that. But there's still a massive audience for it. So
well, and it's not like a niche that certainly doesn't need to be filled, by the mainstream. Like I would point towards the film that they spent like $50 million on. That what's his name, Billy, whatever his name is, uh, the Boys. Is that what it was called? Last year,
Bros, Billy Eichner.
Bros, yeah, Bros. Remember Bros?
oh my god,
Yeah,
I tried not to, dude.
yeah, but my point is that was a niche film. That's an art house film. It did not need a giant budget. It didn't need wide theatrical release because there wasn't a public there to support it. Maybe take that to YouTube. That's my point.
Yeah, absolutely. Tom, you've stayed dubiously quiet for this. What's your thoughts on Aquaman finally beating the Marvels, but still being a failure?
Well, like I said before, I think that the success it has had has mainly been outside the US, and most likely because most people are unaware of the Amber Heard drama or care, or are not that aware of the reset or care. I think just that this movie doing as well as it has is not surprising. I think people kind of expected to do even a little bit better than this, considering. But at the end of the day, it's kind of funny how the Snyderverse has come to an end like a wet fart. I mean, it's just been nothing but crap to this point, and it puts a lot on James Gunn's shoulders to try and reinvigorate this franchise. He's got, basically a
Oh,
year and a half to do it.
I've got a video on that tomorrow. The DC fans are either going to love me or hate me tomorrow, so we'll see.
You're going to be hated.
Probably.
You're going to be hated.
That's fine.
Well, there you go. We will shuffle on now, I think.